દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકારો.
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
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 ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
દાદા 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 ભગવાનના
દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો.
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 Dada Bhagwan Asim Jai Jaikar Ho.
दादा भगवान ना असीम जय जयकार हो।
Dada Bhagwan Asim Jai Jaikar Ho.
दादा भगवान ना असीम जय जयकार हो।
Dada Bhagwan Asim Jai Jaikar Ho.
जय सच्चिदानंद।
Jai Sachidanand Jai. Jai Sachidanand.
जय
Shaileshanandji.
सच्चिदानंद
Jai
शैलेशानंद जी।
Satchidanand.
Please recite the mantra. Everybody please follow.
Namo Vitragaya.
नमो
नमो वीतरागाय
वितरागाय।
Namo Arihantana.
नमो
नमो
अरिहन्ताणं
Arihantanam.
अरिहन्ताणम्।
Namo Siddhanam.
नमो
नमो सिद्धाणं
Siddhanam.
सिद्धानम्।
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo
नमो
नमो
आर्यरियाणं
Ariyanam.
Namo Vajjayanam.
नमो
नमो
Namo
वज्राय
वज्रायाणं
Vajjayanam.
Namo Loe Sauva Sahunam.
नमो
नमो
लोय
Namo
लोवे
Loe
सव
Sava.
साहुणं
साहुम्।
Aiso Panchanamukkaro.
ऐसो
ऐसो
Eso
पञ्चनमुक्कारो
पञ्चनमुक्तारो
Sauva Pavapanasano.
सर्वपावपणः
सर्वपावपणासनो
शृणु।
Mangalanam cha Sauvesim.
मङ्गलानि
मङ्गलानं
Mangalaram
च
सर्वेषां
सव्येसिं
Padmam Havai Mangalam.
परमं
Paramam
पडमं
हवै
हवै
Havai
मङ्गलम्
Mangalam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ
ॐ नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namah Shivaya.
ॐ
ॐ
नमः
Om Namah
नमः
शिवाय
शिवाय।
Shivaya.
Jai Satchidanand.
जय
Jai
जय
सच्चिदानंद।
सच्चिदानंद
Satchidanand. Jai Satchidanand.
जय
Mahatmas.
सच्चिदानंद
We started out with last week with Shaileshanandji talking about Kashays. So, anybody has any input on Kashays or any experience? Lataben, anything?
Lataben, you are mute. Can unmute yours. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
yeah
you can.
not right now, nothing comes to my mind. Let me
Oh,
come back.
okay. Karunaben, anything? Kashabai?
Yes, yes. I usually try to see with a person with I interacted whether there is some abhav or whether I see the other person as doshit or not doshit. And if I see, first of all, sometimes I know that this file I will be not having some interaction and I will be having some bias. So then I do some pratikraman or before interacting with the file, and afterwards also little bit pratikraman. So this is what I usually do, try to follow. And also the Navkalam, maybe some time where I violated the Navkalam with the file, with the person, that I try to see. That is.
Okay. Shresha, you want to expand on that?
Yes, as such, if we see my file one unfolding in various events, maybe with different files, maybe without external people as file, but my file 1 keeps on unfolding with various things. And if I see many a times, there is a tint of discharge, kashay you can say, or discharge weakness I can say, because there are only two things. Either I have vitrag unfolding of my file 1, and if it is not vitrag, it may be tilted or affected by some or other weakness or some or other tint of, you can say, discharge kashay. If I see my own file 1, for example, discharge lobe may show its presence, may or it's okay that I may or may not go with it, but it does show patient ready to pay me fees, and the inner voice says, okay, take adequate or proper, or patient who is not ready to pay adequate, so theek hai. So I can see that there is something which does come up as a note. So unless the Prakriti is much purified in all aspects, some or other thing is there. Of course, they are the objects to be known and seen. They are gneyas and drashyas. I am gnata drashta. I am ever pure. But we are talking about the gney and drashya part, wherein we have to look at the discharge unfolding weaknesses.
Beside this, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, please tell about the role of healthy mind and healthy speech and healthy body for the purpose of moksha in the Akram Vignan path.
Role of healthy mind and healthy speech. Healthy means faultless.
Yes.
There are no faults, gross or subtle. So if we talk about the mind part, even though mind is a discharging thing, but if I look, Dadaji said, opinion is the father of mind and language is the mother of mind. So whole mind, if I see, may be harboring some or other opinions, stronger or milder, but there are. So second point, is mind equanimous? No. I have to keep it equanimous, or I have to awakenly.
By healthy, I mean the functioning. Sorry, I would like to clarify that healthy, I mean functioning, because faultless is another, or is totally.
In Vitrag language, when we see healthy, we mean that it is free of diseases. And in Vitrag language, diseases are our inner weaknesses. Of course, now I understand that what you are telling is normally functioning mind, a normal human being with a normal functioning mind. And that's obviously there. Without normal functioning mind or normal functioning speech, he will not be having even in awakened mode. So that's obviously there. A semi-conscious person cannot do anything. Leave apart the jagrati or awareness part.
Dada says mind is like a boat, so that in that context,
Yes. Mind is a useful tool. Without properly functioning mind, you cannot move anything. You cannot do any vyavhar part. So that's very primary thing. But here, when you asked as a healthy speech, so I healthy speech is something which is non-hurting, which is shadwa.
Correct, but that is what I meant, that I wanted.
No, I understood. Okay, no problem. Let's move ahead.
So tell me, what is how the Dada sees that mind is like a boat, I would like to.
Mind is a navigating tool to navigate through different worldly duties or events or something. So without mind showing you anything, how would you do even any smaller act during the day? Leave aside the disposing the files amicably with equanimity. When the mind is not showing, you can't even attend the satsang, you can't be even here. So at all walks, in all perspectives, the mind is one of the important tool. Yes, only thing is we have to use our discretionary power with which part of the mind to go and with which part of the mind not to go.
Okay.
So mind is like a navigation tool or a boat to sail through the relative part of our being, not for the real. Real is just the knowing, seeing, perception, light. But for the relative, as long as I have mind, body, speech, as long as I have file one, as long as the file one has its liabilities, accounts, and accountabilities, mind is required there.
And what about the speech as a tool for moksha?
Speech has two-way function. Most of the times, our speech creates the problems. But without speech, you can't dispose the files with amicably, with equanimity. Without speech, the vyavhar cannot work. So word W-O-R-D, word is like a world, W-O-R-L-D. Our words make or break our world. That is what is said. So speech is the tool to navigate or dispose all our interactive dealings or whatever, even if file one is alone and even if file one wants something, outer or inner speech is required. And inner speech, you can't stop it unless there is a full Gnyan application and resolution of the inner self. Inner speech goes on.
Okay. And about the body?
Without body, who can be here? So without body, soul is not going to be here.
Means body means properly means
Yes, if the body is not properly functioning, yes, there are two aspects. If the body is not functioning, it is, let's say, it is in the bed, but then inner awareness can be there. You can remain in pure self, or Shuddhatma can still function unless and until the body is in such a state that your consciousness is affected, you're semi-conscious, you're unconscious or something. So body, yes, for the vyavhar dealings, body's function is required. If my body is not allowing me, I can't dispose my files amicably with equanimity because I don't feel like moving around. I don't feel like doing anything. But apart from that, as far as my remaining in my pure self is concerned, I can, even without body support to great extent. And the last height of the situation, if I have to describe, then we did see Dadaji in many events when his body was not functioning well. At the end time, I was there. So previous night, Dadaji said to the people around him that remove this IV saline and will rest. But the people around didn't listen. The saline was continued. So Dadaji just turned on one side and the people felt that he's just slept, but he really, from within, he moved to his pure self. In his terminal moments, in medical language, he was unconscious. But I'm sure that within, he was ever alert as Shuddhatma.
Got it. Thank you. Yes,
Thank you. Lalita ji, Jai
Lalita,
Satchidanand.
man, you're thinking too much. That's so what are you thinking
Satchidanand.
about? When
thinking.
Shaileshanandji talked about this doctory thing, you were thinking too much. So let's talk about what you were thinking about.
No, Dada was in Shuddhatma. There's no doubt about it. There's no question of him being unconscious. He was
That's
always
what
Jagrat.
Yeah. When he was asking about body, just I talked from different perspectives. That
Correct.
for a normal person, yes, the body, unless the body allows, cannot dispose the files amicably with equanimity. But inside, even if the body is not functioning well, and especially when the body is in a critical state of medical condition, maybe on a deathbed, the Shuddhatma becomes more alert. Dadaji says, my Mahatmas has to go in goes into Shuddhatma when the outside is not proper. That is Samadhi Sthiti. That's why he said Samadhi Marat. So that's the experience of every Mahatma, that in critical condition of the body, they become Shuddhatma only.
The question I have is this Ruchi in Pudgal.
Yeah.
It's so set in concrete.
Yeah.
There are glimpses I have that I am not this, I'm simply the observer.
Yes.
But they're so far and few in between, it's not a constant state of Jagriti. That how do I overcome that?
Yes, very good question. So you are talking of Ruchi, means interest, means subtle happenings in the relative self. Let us put it that way. In those subtle happenings, we have discharge moh, means our chit or Ruchi or interest gets somewhere. It may go in some relative aspect, whatever it may be, depending on file one. So inner chit discharge, goes out, discharge interests creeps up. The relative inner self keeps on functioning. That's what I was trying to say, that it unfolds from moment to moment. Maybe there is another person, may not be there is another person. So those subtle aspects, sometimes we can remain as I'm Shuddhatma, I'm just the knower and seer. Sometimes we just it passes, and then after some moment, some time,
always after the event, yes.
We realize that, oh, I was flowing with the relative and not really was Shuddhatma. So that's going to happen. So there are two things I can understand from this. One is our graph is up, down, but actually it's going up. At the bottom line, if you trace, it's going up. Between, you feel up, down, but as such, it is going up. That's one. Second thing that I need to look at, which are the areas of discharge, what charitra moh, Dadaji termed it as charitra moh, means discharge moh, or galan moh, or areas of prakriti which are still so intense that my chit goes entangled into it. And it is the play of chit. When my chit is so much entangled into relative, I can't remain as a pure chit or Shuddhatma. So just for a while, I may miss out onto that. But once the force comes down, the more doesn't stay constant. It comes down. And once it comes down, oh, I'm Shuddhatma. This was the discharge. Or I was not that. So you are absolutely right that the subtle movements of relative that is at the level of antaskaran. That's what always I say. And our focus is on the antaskaran, whatever to extent we are able to remain aloof or separate or knower and seer. It's not continuously possible. It's not continuously easy, but that's where I have to put my awareness that, okay, where am I missing or what's happening? For example, even though it's a part of duty, but as a doctor, when some case is a little perplexed or the file one is thinking about that case, then at the moment I'm rather than Shuddhatma, I'm involved into that particular thing. Not saying should be or should not be, but I can't really stay much separate. Similarly,
in fact, I asked Dada this question. I said, when I'm operating, I can't be thinking of you. He said, no, you should not. You should be concentrating on what you're doing.
Yes.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you is, mind is full of opinions. And in my case, the opinions are all on Pudgal. All 5 senses. Or opinions about people, it's also about their prakriti, it's not their atma. So that is so complicated and so binding, and they keep popping up. No matter how much pratikraman you do, you haven't gotten rid of your opinions.
Absolutely.
So where do I go from there?
Yes, very good. So knowing that there are opinions continuously coming up is first stage of Jagrati, which we are into. Now we have to go to second step. So what I had done few years back when I realized So every time 30-40 minutes in the morning, I used to pray and sit, Ke Dadaji, give me the inner awareness that with Shuddha Upayog, my Shuddhatma light, I can see the opinions of file Shailesh or file 1. And step by step, it showed all the opinions, that opinion about each and every person I met. Then once I know the opinion of Shailesh, then seeing relative real Shuddhatma into that person clears it to great extent, but not totally. So next, about the Prakriti, I used to show, as Dadaji said, after all, he or she is a good person, or after all, it is only a Prakriti, not really and Prakriti is natural. All the phases are natural. You can't say the bubble tree, why it is with the thorns. It is a natural thing. So likewise, the both aspects. First is trying to see pure self in that particular individual or about whom I'm harboring the opinions. And secondly, trying to see nullify the opinions, even relatively. After all, he or she is a good person or showing some good aspect. And ultimately, telling my relative self, Prajna tells that it is all natural occurrences and it's all vyavasthit. So likewise, once the beauty of this science is once we start seeing with Shuddhatma light, it just mellows down. And in due course of time, it will be very mild or normalized or even gone to for most of the people or events or whatever you say. Till that time, as you rightly said, in previous state of ignorance, we had opinions for each and everything. Maybe individuals, maybe happenings, maybe events, maybe things, whatever. Without opinion, we can't. We were not there for a moment also. And then I'm reminded of one situation that Dadaji used to say that in a previous times, if you had seen the camera, no sooner you open the curtain, some print is there in a silverware there. So Dadaji said that unless you see Shuddhatma in somebody, there is going to be some Pudgal print, good or bad, or to be or not to be, straightforward, crooked, whatever it is. So Pudgal saying Pudgal, Prakriti saying Prakriti, opinions are going to be there. So it is our Purusharth, seeing relative and real Shuddhatma, and still if there are opinions, trying to clear up with other, and that prajna helps us. Yes. So it's a stepwise procedure, but I think it's a continuous process. Because even though you have been able to make it mild, still they can come up some or other way. And and that's really where our relative behavior is really driven more often by opinions rather than by our what you can say prajna. I have also seen for myself that more often the opinions are driving us rather than our prajna or seeing the relative real Shuddhatma.
Correct. You know, it's always after the event that I realize I've dropped the ball.
So opinion is a good area to do Purusharth at. Clearing of opinions. Clearing of opinions is a good area to put the Purusharth in.
Started. Correct.
And Dadaji said, if you want to win over your mind, you should make yourself, relative self or free of opinions. And if you can, become free of opinions, you can certainly win over your mind.
Yes, I know that personally. I've never heard Dada express an opinion about anybody.
Yes,
you know,
no.
And whether it was any character in history or anything, he never said anything derogatory.
So opinions, Dadaji had done very good satsang on various occasions, and I had narrated this in some other past satsangs also. Once we were at Abu, Dadaji had taken us all when the Akram was to be started, maybe year 78 or 79. And once Dadaji took us all around to see various places, Brahma Kumaris and different ashrams or whatever. Abu holds many different varieties of things. So Dadaji said one sentence that we have to go everywhere as an observer and not as an examiner. So people say, no, don't be judgmental. But
Right.
now Dadaji used different words. Then in the evening, we were just sitting, and he said, how many of you have brought the things from museum? So we were just taken aback what he's asking. Museum, you can't bring anything from museum. Museum is just to be seen and enjoyed. You can't take anything from museum. Then he explained that while moving all across, if you have formed the opinions, you will bring that particular thing with you. That means
Correct.
you have stolen something or you have brought something from the museum. The world is like a museum. Move around, enjoy, but don't have opinions, and then you will not bring anything from the museum, or you will not be bound with that particular thing. This is so a subtle thing that
Yes,
it
it's very
can be
subtle. I mean,
very
you
subtle.
don't
Yes.
realize it. That was a very beautiful point.
and
Thank
and
you.
and our relative nature is to give some opinion, to give some marks, to give some evaluation, even though nobody is asking. So we do
Correct.
evaluate, we do put some stamp, we do put some judgment, we do put some opinion on anything and everything. We don't move from there without putting our opinion. So that's where, and Dadaji expanded on it a lot of things. You can have dahi vada, you can enjoy everything, but don't give opinion. If you give opinion, this dahi vada was very good, it will bind you.
Correct.
So you have invited new mind. By expressing opinion, you are creating a new mind. As long as it is not expressed, you are not creating a new mind. So opinions, he has done marvelous satsangs and different perspectives, and really it helps a lot.
Thank you. Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand. So Rajinibai Lalita ji came out with a very good.
Oh yes, we have to do some
Request
Pardon
her.
needling.
me.
We have to request her to bring out some another sciences.
Yeah, that's why. That was a request. Needling is requesting her.
Yes. Yes.
How you doing with your legs, Lalita ma'am?
Oh, I'm doing very well. I think this is my last week of therapy.
Okay.
Very good.
I had
Very
knee
good.
replacement, Dr. Shailesh.
Yeah,
And
I heard in the last satsang. I just heard. Yeah.
yeah.
So Lalita ji's house is getting repaired.
Yes.
Lalita ji's house is getting repaired.
It's a relief. I don't have to focus on that pain anymore, I
Yeah,
think.
very good. Yeah, I understood. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
very good. Thank you.
Lata ji.
This was very, very helpful what you're mentioning. One of the things I go through is, it's very easy to kind of listen to satsang and try and practice and say like it's a file one and not, I'm not doing. So I thought, okay, I'm kind of moving ahead. And what happens is the minute when it comes to, I'm not sure whether it is opinions, it's biases basically. When it comes to my own children, when it comes to dealing with them, dealing with the close people, even if I don't express the opinion, and sometimes what happens, they pull it out of your mouth,
Yes.
and I realized suddenly, I just dropped the ball, all along I've been saying, okay, I'm saying kudos, I'm able to do it. And suddenly the whole thing kind of comes out and I say, okay, I'm again starting from square one. That's been my experience, I realize I have a long way to go when it comes to, I'm conscious about it, but at the same time, sometimes I wonder, how do I know that I have progressed? It's sometimes get a little disappointed that, I'm not able to, see pile one, and then I suddenly kind of say that it's my son, my daughter, and that kind of a thing. And see, rest of the world, it's okay. It's relatively easy. But when it comes to your own children, I do notice that a number of times the slips have happened. And my question is, how do you, play the role of the mother, or, whatever is the role, at the same time, like, how do you actually kind of get them to receive what they're looking for? Not really opinions, but what happens, how do I go about, how do I do this, how do I do that? I mean, is that a correct thing to get involved? Or I really would like to have your, advice on that.
Yeah, so a nice pertinent area of our Jagrati or Purusharth. Right. So if we look at the Vitrag people, see, Dadaji also had the near ones and he also dealt with everything. So the question is not that we have to get involved. Relative file, one has to get involved. What is we have to look is what are our inner complexes working with that. As I said, with the outer unfolding things, our antaskaran is also active. So what is the difference between us and Vitrag ones? So we have still the intense rag or attachments, we have the some dislikes, we have some our designs, I would say, or means this is good, this doesn't look good, this should be this way, this should not be this way. So all this is within us. So as long as that is within us, some or other day it has to come out. We can't just put it under the carpet for very long. Someday the carpet, somebody will lift up the carpet.
Correct,
So the meaning
correct.
thereby, the outer unfolding of Vyavhar is happening, which we have brought with them. Vyavasthit is making them unfold. Our Jagrati and Purusharth and part of Gnan is we look at the Prakriti, which is unfolding. We look at the inner subtle things, which is the inner subtle force of attachment, force of our design, force of our opinions, and we slowly clear that up one way by saying relative real, another way is by doing pratikraman of closure files. Pratikraman of not only we have heard them, but pratikraman of the effects we are incurring. Why we are incurring effects? Why we are not incurring effects with the people who are distant to us? Because there we don't have any stronger bonds of attachments or aversions. Here we have the stronger bonds of attachments and aversions. That's what is affecting us. That's what is leading us to various effects. Maybe positive, maybe negative. So once we start looking at that, we pray, Dadaji, give me the inner strength so that this inner part I can get cleaned up to move to the Vitrag Vyavhar state. So gradually, as we clean that off, our Vyavhar will rise higher. It will be better. So without getting affected, without getting biased, it will culminate into pure love part, and we'll be able to better deal with them. Not that we are running away. We will be able to better deal with them. We'll be able to perceive them as Shuddhatma. We'll be able to know their Prakriti as Prakriti. We'll be able to Prakriti, and we'll be free from within. We'll be free from within gradually. So that is what is, I think, required. So that is why Dadaji said this worldly Vyavhar is the test examination. And our home or our near and dear ones are a bigger tests. So we have to do those tests and welcome. And then slowly we see, because they give the opportunity to see our own Prakriti. I put it that way. Unless there are nimitz, I can't see my own Prakriti. Or what I'm still harboring within. So they allow me to see my own Prakriti. They allow me to work on my inner. And that is what I said. That if the people say I don't have inner things, I don't believe, then you will be in a siddhas or you will be in a state. So Prakriti is still with all these things, we look at that and we pray Dadaji. So Dadaji from within, that is the Prajna Shakti, and Gnan will help us and clear off the inner aspects and trying to reach to Vitrag, Vyavhar state and pure love state. Right?
Thank you.
So pure love
Thank
is
you.
pure love is of course free of expectations, conditions, opinions. So it transcends the
Very
relative.
true.
What I'm trying to say deals with the relative, but it can transcend the relative and get focused onto real.
Okay. Thank you. Jai Sachidan.
Jai
Hi,
Satchidanand.
Sachin, thank you. Okay, Shaileshanandji, in
Ji.
the earlier you said our graph is going up slowly,
Yeah.
but also now our graph of Kroth, Mann, Maya, Lobh should be going down.
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm thinking, reflecting myself. Okay,
Yeah.
Kroth, I can feel that it is, really
Going
good.
down. It's almost non-existent with most
Yeah,
of them.
Kroth,
Yeah.
Mann, when we moved here, we were involved. I was involved in activities here for 5 years, and then I gave up. Okay, so at that time, of course, I could see my man and all that. But now, I not too much involved in a lot of stuff. Except, of course, I'm on the Dada Bhagwan charitable organization. Other than that, so now I don't know that there's a gauge of man, or have to wait for occasion to come to man, and then Maya. Now we don't have too much. Like children are grown up, they're doing all stuff. Once in a while, hello, once a week. Well, other than that, if there's something they need, they ask you, then you tell. Otherwise, there's not too much on that. Green, and I don't know green, because now, it's so war and clothes and all. There's no big interest in all the agro stuff. So now, how do you know that you are really, in other aspects, you are really when there's now I'm retired, as you know. So only activity is satsang. Go out and get groceries and a little bit social, not too much.
You have a nice thing. Yes, if our Shuddhatma graph is going up, naturally the discharge weaknesses graph is going down. It is going down, but still let's put it to test. So if I put Shailesh and myself to test, the man is still we have to work on it. Not a gross or evident man, but there is a subtle man in the sense that if somebody doesn't recognize Shailesh's presence, doesn't give any due attention to Shailesh, or disregards Shailesh, then Shailesh may be affected from within, maybe a little unhappy that they don't understand, they don't really, or they are biased, or that's their understanding. But that is inner unhappiness which is coming out. Inner unhappiness of what? Inner unhappiness of not really, what you can say, giving credit or giving discredit on the other hand, or whatever. So all this, so in simple sentence, Dadaji used to tell that whatever is coming on Shailesh, you are taking it up. So you are not living there as Shuddhatma, you are living as Shailesh. Second aspect, I evaluate my man in some other way also, that whenever something, some blow or some criticism or some mild or strong adverse comment comes for the Shailesh, then immediately I try to protect Shailesh. No, it was under these circumstances. It was circumstances which really. So why I'm jumping to protect Shailesh? So Dadaji said, okay, you are still protecting your I, protecting your discharge I, protecting your discharge Prakriti. So I'm not happy by letting go my discharge I still want to keep it protected, or still want to protect it. That's a subtle man. That's a subtle Potapanu, which is still for us. It's an area to work. So even in satsang, if everything is rosy, everybody says, yeah, fine, hello, Jai Satchidanand, it's fine. But if something comes up and some critical comments start coming, then I have to examine Shailesh that, oh, are you getting affected? Are you getting upset? people say, no, are you upset? So what is upset? Upset is a relative identity, is unhappy. That is man itself. So Dadaji used to say that if somebody says you are a thief and you are cheating world and you are doing whatever in a real life, it happens seriously and sincerely. On a stage, the saints and monks said, Dadaji, you stop cheating the world. But Dadaji for a moment was not without his free smile. He said, okay, we'll look at the things, and if we find that there is cheating, we'll stop it. So separately. So I think the man is still it is there till the end, till my discharge ego doesn't totally go away. It is there. So man functions in the form of discharge ego, protection of prakriti, protection of discharge ego, trying to have some other people should value me, not my inner self. So if I'm not valued by other people, my mark or my identity gets little disheartened, I would say. Even not unhappy, then I can use the word disheartened. So what is that disheartened? Disheartened means affected by the other people, how they are looking at you, not that you are being looked in Shuddhatma's light. So all these are, I think, subtle aspects of man. Greed, I agree that obvious greed may not be affecting that, okay, money and whatever this as far as maintenance. But Sukshma greed, just give me a moment. My computer battery needs to. Yeah, so it just gave me a warning.
Good,
So
good, yeah.
some loose contact. So before I get disconnected, I thought.
Oh, yeah, we don't want blackout, yeah.
Yeah, so it's working nice. So greed, obvious greed, yes, that for the money or for the things, and at your stage, you're free from my life. At my stage, still I have something working as long as. But I have seen that the greed is not only about money or not only about the belongings or the things you want. But now the Sukshma lobh or Sukshma greed, Dadaji said the greed is also there for everything, for sukh, for the things you like, for the circumstances or people you like, or even for man. So any relative, so if I like some people, and then I will wish that, okay, let them be around me or let I be around them. And if I don't like few people, I say, oh no, they let me get rid of. That's also part of greed. Your relative inner attitude to keep the circumstances or people of liking longer with you, and the inner inclination or inner subtle thing that the unlike people or unlike circumstances should go away, it also forms a part of Sukshma lobh or Sukshma greed.
So Matbhed is a part of that?
Matbhed is holding on to relativity, I would say, simply. Whatever my relative viewpoint or relative understanding or relative like or dislike, I'm holding on to it. I'm caught into that.
So it won't go in the Sukshma greed, huh?
No. It won't go into Sukshma greed. Matbhed is more at the level of viewpoints and intellects, and then ego catches that up.
Yeah, but you said dislike and maybe dislike, like, so.
What I said, the inner wish or inner inclination that these circumstances or people who are liked by me, that means they are giving me some pleasure. They should last longer. And the circumstances which I'm finding unfavorable or unpleasant, that is because of dislike, not that the circumstances or people are hurting or giving me any, but because I'm not liking that, it is giving me uncomfortable feeling. So they should be going away faster. That is also Sukshma lobh. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah, Matbhed per se is a different. This is that I want to keep the comfortable or pleasure-giving situations longer, and I want to avoid the unpleasurable situations or unliked situations to go away faster. That's also Sukshma Lobh in the Sukshma terminology.
Okay.
So holding on to the relative things goes into Sukshma Lobh, whatever it may be, form may be, whatever form it may be, holding on to Sukshma things. Sometimes we Aptaputras have feeling that, okay, I'm not given enough time, I have less time, while others are using more time. That's also Sukshma Lobh.
Yeah.
And wishing to have more, maybe for satsang, but satsang doesn't say that it's only by time you are given, only by the time you speak. It's your presence, it's your state of being, which is really counting to satsang. So that is how Dadaji said that I don't count on my disciples, I don't count on my temples, I don't count on anything. Whereas we do count. Sometimes the Aptaputras count how many videos this Aptaputra has, how many views this Aptaputra
I
has.
know.
So that's also Sukshma Lobh, I would say. Why? For what? Yeah, okay. For the improvement, you may have a cursory look at the thing that what can I improve, but not really as a inner taste or distaste. When the inner tastes it, it's a Sukshma Lobh. So Lobh is for Sukh, Lobh is for Mann, Lobh is for belonging. Lobh is also for many, many things.
Very good, yeah. So Maya, what about Maya?
Maya is Charitra Moh. It is Charitra Moh.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. So, one thing I learned is, now I have to work about my Potapanu, even my, that is the key thing for Mann about my Potapanu.
Yeah, so Dadaji, what Dadaji wanted us, okay, since you are having the experience of Chaitanya Shuddhatma, you have tasted it, remain as Chaitanya Shuddhatma, don't get caught into any relative subtle Paudgalic or relative inner happenings in the machinery. So that's where he ultimately takes us there. And these small things, discharge ego, discharge Potapanu, discharge, these smaller things are still where we can get caught. Even I got caught or something like that.
Yeah, it's very good. So maybe for next whole week, maybe we can look at our Potapanu.
Yeah.
Right? And
yeah, sure.
Mahatmas, please take a note about and then see if we can experience.
See, another thing, when it's coming with Dadaji's guys, I think that when we are meeting, we are all Mahatmas, that we feel happy and we see Shuddhatma and we say Jai Sajan, but still, identity-wise, I am not one with everybody. Why my identity, Sukshma relative identity of Shailesh I am talking, why it is keeping separate? That itself is also a Potapanu. Dadaji was one with everybody.
Yes.
One with a child, one with everybody, because there his discharge ego was not keeping a separate identity. It was just so that separate voice, that separate noise, not only voice, sometimes noise, that separate identity itself is one kind of Potapanu. Yes, Lalitaji.
Please explain Potapanu for Rani's sake and Meera and Lata. They don't. They may not understand that.
Yeah, Potapanu is Dada's, I would say, novel word. But in English, the Potapanu is, I would say, sukshma, subtle mindness or subtle I-ness. Actually, this Potapanu first pertains to my discharge ego. And then it pertains to the discharge mindness, not in terms of belongings, but my understanding, what I'm saying, what I perceive. These are all relative things I hold on is mine. So discharge I mainly, and then coupled with some subtle mindness. And that's how I keep relative identity as I'm Shailesh. Even though I'm friendly with the other Mahatmas, still I'm not one with all the Mahatmas. What is keeping that identity separate, or what is not allowing me to be one from the bottom of my heart is this discharge this discharge understanding that, oh, I understand more, I have different higher, whatever it is, whatever way it works, but that I. And in USA, every I is independent, financially, existentially, and all other way. It's okay. But that I coming in between to have the oneness and pure love with the others is also a reflection of, I would say, Potapanu means reflection of the discharge I, with coupled with some discharge subtle mindness.
That's
Is
good.
it clear, or you want to ask? Rani is not showing me. Darshan dete to.
I'm here. Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand.
Actually, Satsang has been, my question was about opinions and, fault finding. I think for Rani at work,
Yes.
the aggravation has been, the main obstruction, I think, to just inner staying in Agnya, staying in the center. It's been all caused by file number one's intellect, file number one's opinions, file
Yes.
number one judgment, file number one's preferences. Sometimes it, feels like you're just riddled with Kashays, like just they're everywhere. So for me, sometimes by the time I get to even do pratikraman for one thing, it's the end of the day, and it might be like 1 hour worth of accumulated, 2 hours sometimes worth of accumulation. What has been helpful this week, I would say, is just when those opinions start, like sometimes for me, because of language, pratikraman, it takes a little bit longer. I have to remember the words or read the words. So I just do like Asim Jai Jaikar Ho, just to bring that down a little bit and kind of then get to a point where you can be more in the observer instead of reacting, getting pulled in. That's been my main challenge, throughout.
Yeah. Very good observation of file one. Yeah, I agree. So file one's belief that I'm intellectual, I'm understanding more, I'm really doing good job, and everybody feels that. So naturally, the others are not doing good job. The others are not as understanding. So I tell Shailesh, or I tell you have to tell Rani, you have your own natural things, and if nature has given you more light, use that, but not to darken the others. Help the others to come up if you can. Otherwise, in all, see, one thing is very clear about how Dadaji taught us is in a garden, everybody is a different, right? Rose is different, jasmine is different, then small other flower or mango is different, and everything is different. No two trees or plants are similar, and they can't compare with each other. No, and even we can't compare them. So all these are natural occurrences. Know what is what. You can't expect the peon or attendant of your whole team to be as good as or as smart as the CEO or MD or whatever it is. Why? It is a natural occurrence. Leave aside the karma and karmic bonds and everything, but in this world, it's going to be like that. So he deserves more love from us rather than the negative opinions and neglection from us. So that is how we can talk to our file one, see the things as they are, rather than binding or stamping the opinions. And after all, they are bugging us. So you have to say, Rani, you have worked the whole day for the enjoyment, for getting some fulfillment, or getting the baggages at the end of the day. So talking to our own self, I think we can gradually convert ourselves into the second side. So we can't immediately get free of opinions, but at least from the negative, we can go to positive, and then we go to the see the nature as it is. So the human beings are also the different plants and trees of the natural garden. So know them as they are. If you can help them to rise up, fine. Otherwise, smile, love, care, share, get your work done. Right? And then beyond that, I'm Shuddhatma, everybody is Shuddhatma. This is relative drama which is getting unfolded. So Rani has to do her job sincerely and morally. Rani cannot control the other's job sincerity.
That, yeah, that
For
I
that
know
matter,
for sure.
Shailesh. For that matter,
Right.
Shailesh. And you are lucky, but I have been experiencing that whenever Shailesh sees or it occurs that even though I alarm or tell him, but whenever he sees fault or some voice is high pitched, that surgery I face a problem. So I keep myself very trying to balance that, not for myself, put myself into trouble. Please
Right.
be proper, behave properly.
Yeah.
So Sanyam Parinam, it is known as restraint or Sanyam Parinam. So somebody was
Yes.
asking, but if I see my unfolding file 1, always it is not in Sanyam. Always it is not in restraint or balanced or vitrag. It does go here and there. So just keep on walking. But the whole idea is, bottom line is, Rajani Bhai says it should be, our happiness should not be affected, inner happiness, and it does get affected by all these masala inside, opinions, intellectual, believing oneself one step higher than above others and whatnot.
All of, yeah.
Yeah.
And also conflict, like co-workers conflict with each other and you're stuck in the middle. That happens a lot.
Yeah,
So
that's a nice
trying to-
situation, I would say.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to love, care, smile for both or
Yes.
all, and then change them all.
That's
So
that's
you have I think you also would gain for yourself, and you also can make the situation also turn around because you have that vision. We have that vision. So Dadaji used to do that thing. So Kaviraj wrote, Bachpan thi sab sanyogo ne meetha kari jane vyavare. Means whatever situation he was into, he would make the situation all sweet and good and so, but that comes when I'm able to see my file 1. So once the people say management, so people have great management courses, resources management, human resources management, and whatnot. And it occurred to us that one who cannot manage one's own self, means relative self, cannot manage others. Unless I can manage my relative self well into that situation, then only in my presence the others will be managed. So this Gnan tells me, don't learn to manage others, learn to manage yourself first, relative self.
Yes, definitely.
So
very
it's a lovely thing.
Jai.
So Dadaji has given us a very lovely art and science which we can get benefited. More the challenges, more we can get benefited. So let them come.
Thank you, Rani.
Jai Satsang.
Jai Satsang. Miraben.
Jai Sachidanand, I think my question will take a little bit of time, so I won't ask this time, because my issue is that I finally found, I had a conversation with a friend this week, and the conversation blew my expectation and dug deeper into the type of notes that Shaileshanandji had said about each of our Kashays. And one of the biggest ones was that Meera not only identifies as a woman, this Sharir, Meera identifies as a woman, but deep down in that note, that Meera thinks women are also very powerful and this thing.
Wants to capitalize onto that.
Yes, and it was such a mind-bursting the thought. I am still doing Purusharth on that. I wanted tips on how to. Shuddhatma is not the Sharir. Shuddhatma is not this body. Shuddhatma is everything above. And I wanted thought processes on how to help my Purusharth to keep saying, Meera, you're not this body. Meera, you're not this. Meera, women. And it all started with a conversation on Sita Devi. I mean, like general conversation, but it the same. So this will take a longer. I don't want to waste. Not waste time, but I know it's very late. So I don't want to do that, but I will ask you the same question next week.
Yes, whatever Rajni Bhai allows us. But simply speaking, see, Meera's feelings or occurrings are relative. That is in part of file 1 we have brought.
Correct.
So don't fight or struggle with that. We have to be, I am Shuddhatma, I am free from masculine or feminine gender. Meera, it is your treasure. I am Shuddhatma, I'm a pure knowing, seeing light. So more and more we stay in Shuddhatma and we see Meera as it is, then it will mellow down. Staying with Shuddhatma vision, it will slowly mellow down. That is one thing. Second thing, it is bound to be there. The Prakriti has so many things interwoven. So as a female, I have some peculiarities as a female, or as a whatever. Male has different notes, female. So just know that, just be aware of that, and gradually it will be taken care by Prajna. And you can sometimes Prajna says also that, okay, forever you want to remain female? No. So leave aside everything and be natural. So Prajna helps us.
Yes.
See, Prajna helps us very different. Sometimes it used to occur to Shailesh Bhai that, okay, nature has given me nice gift of expressing and explaining the things. Then I ask him, then Prajna asks him, why don't you become Tirthankar? He sits down. Okay, it's not beyond, it's beyond me. So then who has given you? Just sit, just flow normally, naturally, without having. So Dadaji used to say, Amin Sahib had written a book, Nirvishesh, means no special, not holding on to any speciality. No speciality means not in worldly language, but not holding on to, not capitalizing on to any speciality. Just knowing that them as natural, remaining as Shuddhatma, knowing the Prakriti as it is. Prakriti will have certain powerful plus points. Prakriti will have some negative points also. They are all Gney and Drashta. Don't hold on to anything. No, allow it to pass. Okay?
Jai
So I think this is the short answer.
The perfect answer. Jai Sachidanand. Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand. Okay, our time is up. Can you do 3 mantra? Everybody.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Namo Vitragaya.
Namo Vitragaya.
Namo Arihantanam.
Namo
Arihantanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo
Ayariyanam.
Namo Vajjayanam.
Namo Vajjayanam.
Namo Loe Savva Sahanam.
Namo Loe Savvasahanam.
Aiso Panchanamukaro.
Aiso Panchanamukaro.
Savva Pavapanasano.
Savvapavanasano.
Mangalanancha Salvesim.
Mangalanam Chakavesam.
Padmam Havai Mangalam.
Havai Mangalam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand. Shaileshanandji, Mahatma. Jai Sachidanand.
Jai
Sachidanand, Shaileshanandji,
Jai
Rajnikanta,
Sachidanand, Shaileshanandji, Jai
Sachidanand,
Sachidanand,
Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand. Deepakanand. Jai Sachidanand.
Sarve Matmao, Jai Sachidanand,
Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand,
Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand. Jai Sachidanand. Dilip.
Satchidanand.
Uncle, Jai Satchidanand.
Jai
Ishani,
Satchidanand.
acha.
Jai
Satchidanand.
Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand, Usha
Jai
Ben.
Satchidanand.
Jai
Jai
Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand. Dilip Kaka, Jai Satchidanand.